Hello, everyone, and welcome into the hospitality room presented by Mascot Media. Bobby Swofford, Blair Cartwright. We weren't with you last week. It was a little crazy. It's a little crazy this week because it is March, and that means madness all around. We'll even delve into that a little more. But as we get started, how are you today, Mr. Swofford?
I am good. I have hanging on to whatever hair I have left and hoping it doesn't turn more gray because today is not that I had any free time today, but today is the only time between now and next Saturday that I have any free time.
Yes, and we will tape a show next week, probably on Monday, just so you know, and then we'll be encouraging you to do other things. And we'll get right to the topics and why, because we want you to go to AAAscoreboard.com. It's state
Yes.
tournament time in Arkansas.
Yeah,
Yes.
depending on when you're watching this recorded podcast, starting Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time in America, AAAscoreboard.com. All the best teams in Arkansas battling out for a state title. Last year, we set the bar pretty high for ourselves,
Yes.
420,000 combined views. This year, we're going for half a mil.
Yes, we are, and our clock did not reset. So here we go.
Less of me is probably better for everybody.
No, never enough. Never enough swath. Come on, now that the UCA games are over, and those went very well. So,
Yeah.
and now we have AAAscoreboard.com. Every state tournament game
Yeah.
streamed live. And we had regionals last week, and there
Hmm.
were some incredible ball games. And I can only
There
imagine
was.
what
Yeah.
this week will be like.
Yeah, it's as my predecessor. I can't take all the credit for it. Started this with Mascot Media, AAAScoreboard.com, just providing a stream for everybody because the state tournaments in Arkansas. Most people, if you don't live in the state, I mean, it's like, oh, Arkansas is small. It can't be that spread out. I mean, corner to corner, you're looking at 5 or 6 hours. There's some long road trips. We're the only athletic association in the entire country who provides a live stream for free of every
Yes.
basketball state tournament game. We pride ourselves in that. It could be easily done to go out and just do a money grab and say, hey, we're going to make money on this. We don't do that. We want to make sure that we're promoting our kids, promoting our coaches, promoting our athletic programs, and doing it the right way. And that's why, when they go out and play for a state championship, we love the partnership and all the hard work that you do this week and last week, Blair. It really is a big deal. And so we're looking, and this includes the championship games. Obviously, those are on statewide television next week on
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas PBS, but AAAscoreboard.com. Go to it, refresh it, bookmark it, all you need right there. Every game.
It is the March Madness on demand for the state of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love basketball, I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be unreal. Packed gyms. You obviously want to be there live, but I mean, every game. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
34.
And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. 34 games a day all the way leading up into Saturday. I mean,
And not
you
only
got
that,
plenty of basketball to watch. 34 games a day.
yes, and good basketball. I mean, let's be
Yes.
honest. Arkansas's got some hoopsters now, boys and
Yeah.
girls.
Yes. Everybody like always kind of scoffs. It's like, oh, basketball's king in Arkansas. They don't believe me. Yeah, it is. Look at the number of guys in the NBA right now from the state of Arkansas. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even on the girls' side, there was a player from Springdale drafted in the WNBA first round last year.
Lakeisha
This state
Davis.
knows basketball, and it'll be on display. There's some big time names, and there's some more coming. Obviously, you think about Isaiah Seeley, who's committed to play for the Razorbacks. You
Mm-hmm.
think about J.J. Andrews at Little Rock Christian, just a junior, got offers to everybody in the country. Going to be a Power Four conference player. So there's some high level talent in Arkansas, and it's going to be on display, and you can watch it for free right there.
Yeah,
AAAscoreboard.com, somewhere over
it's
there.
gonna
Over there.
gonna be
Pull over there.
awesome right there. So, and that leads us into we're all over the place.
Oh
The
man.
death of Gene Hackman, which I mean, how ironic, and we had texted about this back and forth. March Madness. I mean, I think Gene Hackman. I know French Connection, Oscar, but Norman Dale,
Mhm.
Hoosiers, especially this time of
Yeah.
year. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, and the more details or lack of details that come out with the story make it really odd. And it's kind of crazy what's happening with it. It's a sad deal. And you asked me if like there's going to be a moment of silence for Coach Norman Dale. I was like, only at the small school gyms because I mean
Yes.
that's exactly what that movie was. He couldn't play in these cathedrals that they have now. He needs
No.
that small school feel. And it probably is a little dated now, but what a great sports movie.
Oh my gosh! I mean, for this time of year, if you're a basketball fan and have not watched Hoosiers,
Hmm.
I mean, what are you doing? What are you
Yeah,
doing? And the crazy
yeah.
thing is, Hackman didn't enjoy when they were making it. He's like, "Oh, this is stupid. This isn't going to do anything."
Hmm.
And then, lo and behold, he watched the finished product and is like, "Oh yeah, that was pretty good."
That's what all the good movies and good songs are. Is like you finish it like whatever.
Yeah.
That's a fluff. It's gonna give me a paycheck, and then 40 years later, it's still one of the all time greats.
Oh, just unbelievable. I mean, it's the ultimate, and it's based on a true story. It is the
Yeah, that's the best
ultimate
part.
Cinderella story. So it is
Hmm.
phenomenal. We'll circle back down to Hollywood momentarily. Back into basketball, Razorbacks 17-12, 6-10 in the conference, but a horrible loss to South Carolina. You think they're in the tournament? I've seen some projections. They're in the first four.
Hmm.
Man, are we
So you
struggling for
take all
64?
Yeah, you take all of the momentum that Arkansas had, stacked
And
it up, stacked
goodwill.
it up, stacked it up over the last month, and then right on their face. 4 of 35 shooting was Arkansas at one point in that game. 4 of 35. Third grade basketball teams aren't that bad. It was unreal how poorly they played in that contest. I mean, you're talking about you beat Texas, you beat Missouri, you're right there with Auburn, Alabama, Texas A&M, all these top 10 teams,
You
and
won
you
at
can't beat a team who
Kentucky.
has half a pulse.
Yeah,
So,
even without
so
Thero, but still.
yeah. So to me now, with Thero probably maybe going to play, maybe not tomorrow. I mean, you don't
Yeah,
know. Either way, you need to beat Vanderbilt on the road, which is I believe like 14-2 at home this year.
yeah.
Something silly. Then you got to beat a ranked Mississippi State team at home this week on this
Which
weekend,
is,
and
which
then
is,
I mean, top 25, and then maybe just to feel good about yourself, you're going to have to beat either a Georgia or a Texas or somebody else in the first round of the SEC tournament just to say, oh, yeah, we feel comfortable about our chances. And I don't know that having 13 losses, you can feel comfortable
yeah.
about your
I don't.
resume.
I mean, you may have to win two in
Hmm.
Nashville to even breathe easy. I mean, are they struggling to fill the field of 64? Is it that just blah this year? Because I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
the,
maybe.
the the advantage was they didn't have any bad losses until Saturday, and that
Yep.
is a massively bad loss. So, I mean, it helps you got Mississippi State at home because Lord knows you don't win in Starkville. But
Yeah.
I mean,
So
Vandy.
how is I mean, I guess my question is, how is the tournament bracket set up now?
Oh, with what the SEC now has 49 teams, so
Yeah.
the
So,
tournament probably lasts what, a week and a half.
hmm
So are they in
so
the
right. So
first day?
here we go. So 9 through 16 play on day one. 1 through 4 get a double bye. So currently Arkansas is sitting in 11th
Playing
place.
playing first day,
So
right?
you're playing the 11-14 matchup on day one, the final day of day one. Which, oh, by the way, you know who's in 14th? Oklahoma, a team that beat you early in the season.
Ooh, yeah. The loser is definitely out, and the
Hmm.
winner probably. Ooh, I don't know. It's going to be
I mean,
interesting.
but yeah, but they're tied with Georgia. But the problem with Arkansas is that they're now 2 games behind Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. Going into the weekend against South Carolina, you're 2 games behind those teams. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. Like, oh, we got the worst team. We got Vanderbilt, we got Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Hey, we may get up to 500 in the league. And now, I mean, obviously, the best you can get to is 8-10. Uh, it's just I mean, maybe if one of those teams loses a couple, but you're stuck in that last game, which is the worst spot because it's scheduled for 8:30 ish. It's likely going to start at 9, and that means you got to play at 9 o'clock the next night, and you're running on fumes as a basketball team as it is. It's a tall task.
And
I
you
mean,
have
that
no
loss
depth.
on Saturday is more damning than any loss I can remember in recent history for Arkansas basketball.
Yeah. I well, I guess you want to get in the tournament, but it's not like Calipari needs that to recruit. but boy, it sure would make their little seating plan a lot easier to
Oh,
sell.
well, here's my thing with Arkansas, and honestly, a lot of these teams in the SEC, just because of the schedule in the league. Say Arkansas wins the next two, they're 8-10, 19-12, and they go 1-1. So they're 20-13 in the SEC tournament, or coming out of the SEC tournament, and they get into the tournament as an 11 seed. Okay,
Yeah.
it means they're going to get matched up with a 6 seed coming out of whatever other conference, and Arkansas may be favored as a team with 10 conference losses. They're going to be favored in the first round because the SEC is so strong and so deep this year, assuming Arkansas is at full strength with Thero.
Yeah. But
If
if
they
you're in
don't have
11,
Thero, they're not getting in.
if you're in 11, there's a chance you're in Dayton Tuesday or Monday.
Yeah, possible. Yeah.
Which, I mean, you're in, but boy, then you got to turn around and play.
That would be the
State.
worst possible scenario. Yeah, Arkansas being in the first four would be the worst case scenario because of how thin they are.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're running on fumes as it is.
Yeah.
And playing an extra game would not be good.
All right. So if we took a vote today, in or out?
First four. They're playing in Dayton, if you ask me today. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's fair. Yeah. Probably not ideal, but that's how it goes. All right, we'll move on. Baseball, 10-1, swept Charlotte. It's still too early though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see some things. Starting pitching, especially Gabe Gackle, you got a question mark. You can't give up 9 runs in 3 innings against Charlotte, against anybody, honestly, and say that you feel good about your pitching staff. If they've come out with an update on Gage Wood, I haven't seen it. I don't know. Is he?
Either.
So now you're talking about one's struggling, one's hurt, and you don't have an update on him. That's a problem. Talking today about Arkansas baseball, though, in the past we've seen them win so many games as a blowout. It's kind of nice to see them win some one-run games. Not how they did it. You don't want to give up 2 runs in the 9th inning like they did yesterday, but the coming back and beating Charlotte 11-10 in the first game. Winning 2-1 in Arlington against TCU, winning a close game against Michigan, even though you had a big lead early. Those are things that they need going into conference play, but more importantly, going into the postseason, because you don't want a team that's not battle tested. And of course, playing the SEC, you're going to be battle tested. You're going to win some close games, but why not get some confidence that you can win tight games early going into SEC play, and maybe that helps you out. So, yes, you would love to beat everybody 24-0, but I think there is a little bit of silver lining with them winning some close games because they're still winning, even though they're not playing great baseball, except for the other Aloy brother who is just smashing the baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you see I went Sunday. You see the averages on the board, and it's like 655. It's like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Wait, no, he starts. It's like that's just.
Yeah.
That's insane. So we'll see what happens. They play midweek this week. I forget against who, and then Portland. Who even knew Portland had a team? So we'll see. Hey, the hottest team on campus, softball, 19-1, and they're opening SEC play, and that sport in the SEC just as loaded as baseball, if
maybe
not
more so.
More. I mean, yeah, they're opening conference play this weekend. Holy cow!
Yeah, I mean, you like what they've done. Obviously, the record is there. The only thing that jumps out to you, though, the only ranked team that they have played beat their brakes off.
Yeah, UCLA.
So yes, I get it. They beat Illinois, Big Ten school, and they beat Iowa this weekend. Both of them beat them twice. All of them were mercy rules. All played 5 or 6 innings and never got the full 7. I get that they're smashing the softball. They're playing really well. They hadn't beaten anybody of significance, and you got run ruled in the one time you played a ranked team. That worries me.
Are they at the point now where it's okay? Best start, that's great. Blah blah blah. At this point, you got to go to Oklahoma City. You got to take the next. That's what it's all about at this point. Everything else is just an appetizer for that because that's where they're at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, you got to get to a super. But they hadn't got out of the regional.
Well, they have. Well, they've gotten to the super, and then they host it, and then they get killed.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
Weekend number 2 of SEC play. It's unfortunately it's during the basketball finals for me, so I'm not going to get to see it. Say if they happen to handle business and they sweep Ole Miss this weekend, and they're 22-1. Oklahoma comes to town next weekend.
Ooh, dog. That's gonna be a
How much fun is if the weather's decent? How much fun would Bogle Park be for that series?
Oh, it will be electric. It will be electric, and yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's gonna be something to definitely keep an eye on. All right, let's talk some football. Deebo traded for a 5th-round pick. Were you shocked?
No. As soon as you get permission to seek a trade, you're going to get moved or cut, one or the other. I guess it's a good landing spot, but I mean, Deebo is in the same category as you can almost even throw Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, like is the best football behind them. Deebo can't stay healthy. And obviously, he's a unique weapon. He tried to get him the ball out of the backfield, a slot receiver, whatever, but he's hurt all the time. And coming off a great rookie year for Jaden Daniels, you need some people who you can rely on. They got Terry McLaurin, but I believe everybody else is a free agent for Washington. They're losing a bunch of their receivers. So you like the idea of giving him some weapons and only cost you a 5th-round pick. Obviously, he's got a pretty big salary, and the Commanders do have a bunch of cap space. But I don't know that I would have invested that much on his entire contract unless they're going to rework it because he is so injury-prone.
Yeah, maybe a fresh start helps him, but man, a 5th-round pick. I mean,
yeah, veterans aren't worth much anymore because honestly, because the higher the value, or talking about the contract, the less a team's going to give up because they're taking that responsibility of the salary away from the 49ers, and so their return's going to be less.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. This one was a little surprising. Stafford is going to stay with and the Raiders were going to allegedly offer him 2 years, 90 to 100 million.
Yeah.
And he's staying in LA.
Yeah, to me that says that he and McVay worked it out behind the scenes, and he knows that he has a chance to win with LA, and Vegas is so far away from winning that it's not worth taking that risk just for the money.
But can you imagine though? Still turning down $90 million.
Well, I mean, Matthew Stafford's made a ton of money in his career. Yeah.
It's just crazy. It just blew my mind when I saw that. Well, the franchise tag is deadline's tomorrow. The combine took place over the weekend, which I don't think any of us saw because we were all watching basketball. But I mean, and then I've heard lately people are coming out. Well, the combine is just pointless. Because all the stars don't run and stuff. It's more of a television show now for the NFL Network, so it's not going to go away.
Right.
But, I don't know.
It's the underwear Olympics.
It is. But Landon Jackson had a great showing. Tesla had a good showing.
Yeah.
But you see that and you're like, okay, is that good? Or did Arkansas severely underachieve? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jackson, they knew that he's going to chart out. I mean, he's got the intangibles. Landon Jackson was a good player. The Tesla stuff is very interesting, especially as fast as he ran. The knock was he couldn't get separation, but like he created some plays. I mean, but when you've got Andrew Armstrong and trying to force the ball to brick hands, Broden. And then, you got Satania, trying to get open in the slot, but he can't hang on to the ball either. They had other options they were trying to get the ball to. It's just, Tesla kind of fell through the cracks, even though he shouldn't have, more than likely. David Walker from Central Arkansas probably improved his stock a little bit. I think to me, that's what the combine's going to be. If you're outside the top 15, it's going to be about those guys. The top 15, the top 20 draft picks, they know who they are. They're not going to go do anything at the combine anymore. It's not worth the risk injury, and it's not worth them falling because you look at, it's a chance to earn a bunch of money, but look at what Will Howard did, the quarterback from Ohio State. Everybody says that's one of the worst combine performances from a quarterback they've ever seen.
Yes.
And so he may have went. Yeah, he may have went from being the third quarterback taken to maybe being a third-day draft pick. just based on the way he performed. But then again, you're throwing to players you've never worked out with before. I think there's probably a little too much stock put into that. Now, if he goes and has an absolute clunker at his pro day, there may be a little more to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Will Howard was never all that, but we shall see. My phone's blowing up. I don't know why. I'm not popular enough for that to happen.
Join the club.
Yeah. So, whoops. Yeah, we're still talking topics. I hit the wrong button. Oscars were last night. Did you watch?
Didn't even know they were last night. Whoops.
Yeah, we watched. Anora, I guess, is the name of the movie. It won big. Got Best Picture, Director, Screenplay, whatever. Yeah, it was a moment for me. The Oscars have become like the Grammys. In that, who are these people? I don't know who they are. Conan O'Brien hosted, got 15,000. But the crazy thing is, check this swag bag out. Swag bag, 200 grand. A cutting board, $240 cutting board.
Huh.
A pocket.
So Conan
square.
O'Brien only got $15,000.
Yeah. Can you believe that? And it's not like they really needed a host because
Yeah.
the the key, if you're in a group that wins, be the first person to talk because the second person gets up there, they play the music.
Turn the music up. Yeah.
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 I mean, it was just like,
How did Conan do?
he did okay, but then you're watching it, he does his bits, but man,
Yeah.
the show started at 6. I mean, who knew?
Yeah, it's long. It's always long.
And it was just like, they get up there and they're giving their speech and blah, blah, blah. And it went kind of long, but it's like, and they're cutting them off, and you're like, man, this is their moment. We're cutting them off because we had to do these other bits that just weren't funny.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I thought Conan was one of the maybe my favorite late night hosts.
oh, yeah. He's got a sense of humor, and it works. He did a little bit with Sadler, who was in
Yeah.
gym shorts and a hoodie. That was kind of funny, but it was just. And he changed tuxes, which I thought was weird midstream. I don't know if there was an accident or what, but it was just. It's such a long show, and of course it's just. I don't know. It was Hollywood, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
But it was like you didn't know any of the films except
Yeah.
Wicked.
He and Craig Ferguson were probably my best. I see Ferguson's got a new stand up on I think it's Amazon Prime.
Oh, does he? Oh, well, this brings me a chance to use this. We're going down the rabbit hole. Craig Ferguson has a new. He's funny. I enjoyed his late night show. I thought he was cool.
What the hell is that?
It's the rabbit hole. We have rabbits. We're in a rabbit hole. We've gone off topic. We're down a rabbit hole. We've got a graphic for it. We've got rabbits. We've got. This show has it all. This show is epic.
Do you have a soapbox graphic too?
I don't, but I will make a note to add a soapbox graphic. So that you can stand
that's
on
funny.
The soapbox and yell.
As you can tell, Blair and I don't rehearse our podcast, and I had no idea
live.
that was coming. That's
This
fantastic.
is live. You gotta love the rabbit hole. So we go back to our topics.
Back to our regular scheduled program.
Yeah, and here's our graphic again. So that was the Oscars, and that was the graphic, and that was exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think we have mail.
You've got mail.
Oh, yes, we do. And that is that's the second email. We'll go to the first one. Okay. Our show last week, our last show, we talked about the Hall of Fame. The nominees, we kind of had some thoughts on Mariah Carey was maybe overhyped. Well, our comment on the YouTube, and I shortened it. It was long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Eris, don't downplay Mariah's impact and legacy like that. We were bad because we don't like her music. No one on this podcast said they didn't like her music.
Yeah.
And we didn't say that she didn't deserve to get in. Now, granted, I was not aware that she has written a lot of her music.
Okay.
She wrote All I Want for Christmas Is You. I did not know she wrote that. It's made her very wealthy, to say the least. And mentioned how many I mean, she's granted she has multiple hits, but I was shocked, and I
Mm-hmm.
did not know, and you probably didn't know either, that she won the BMI Icon Award for songwriting and 34 BMI Pop Music Awards for 21 different singles she wrote. Who knew? Who knew Mariah Carey wrote songs?
I did not.
So we stand corrected.
Yeah.
So I would guess now that we've been enlightened, we would vote for Mariah Carey to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. So
So,
if you're wondering where that ranks all time, Madonna has 43. 50, excuse me, and her 43 or her 50 number one hits.
really? But how many of those
A
did she
lot.
write?
I don't know. I don't have that much time.
She's 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 Madonna. So if we put Mariah, how many are we putting in? That's the other thing. As we
Mm-hmm.
look at the nominees, how many get in? Is it like the Baseball Hall of Fame? You have to get a certain
Yeah.
majority of votes. I mean,
Yeah. I think I had Mariah Carey in my short
you
list,
may
if I
have.
recall.
Maybe I was the one that badmouthed her. I
Maybe I
don't.
didn't. I don't know. I can't remember.
Who knows? I mean, we could go
Yeah.
back and check the tape, but why? Why do that? All right. So
Yeah.
I hope we've cleared the air on Mariah
All right.
Carey.
Our apologies.
We move
I mean,
on. Oh, yeah. What? You go
I
ahead.
think they misspelled outcast. If you just copied and pasted, I think they misspelled outcast.
I did copy. Well,
Yeah.
shame. Shame. Thumbs down for the comment. How much is too much to spend on a ticket to a sporting event? Thomas is obviously, I'm guessing, trying to get tickets to the Masters
Oh yeah.
because that's just around the
Uh,
corner.
that's a good question. I mean, and it also depends on where you're buying said ticket, because if you're buying it from the outlets, you're
Mm-hmm.
probably not as mad. But if you're trying to buy it third hands and on the aftermarket, and you got to pay all those damn fees,
Yeah. Which
that's
I'm
where I draw the
guessing.
line.
Well, see,
Yeah.
that's where I'm guessing. That's where it gets you because if you can get it at face value, yeah, that's
Hmm.
you're not going to pay at the wazoo. But if you go to SeatGeek or Game Time or wherever or
Yeah.
Ticketmaster
So
resale, yeah,
yeah,
you're going to
yeah.
get
Prime
that.
example. I'm going to answer your question. I promise, Thomas. Is last year we thought about coming up for the Tennessee game, Arkansas, Tennessee. We live
Yes.
2.5 hours away,
Yeah.
and obviously we got to arrange for living expenses and adult beverages while we're there. But
Yes.
I found what I thought were reasonably priced tickets on Vivid, and that's the site I kind of gone to the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, so I put them in the cart, go to check out, and my price doubled because of fees. And I
Oh,
said,
fees are
close browser,
nuts.
we're done. So so you got to have that number. Like it depends on what sporting event it is. Like this is game number 7 of 162 for the Kansas City Royals. Probably not paying that much, and so
Yeah.
you probably need a little more detail. But if it's a college football game on a Saturday, that's meaningful. So you got two teams who are relevant. We'll say, I think $250 is probably the norm these days. But if you're looking at Arkansas versus the University of the Blind and Deaf, I don't know that you pay more than $100.
Yeah.
So it depends on what it is and what you deem important to you. Like game number 58 of the NBA season, probably not worth nearly as much as game number 1 or game number 2 in the playoffs. So be wise with
If
your money.
yeah, Game 7 or an NFL playoff game, yeah, you could go up. Masters, man, I don't know. What would be the limit for you?
Well, I mean, because
500?
you got to like. No, I wouldn't pay anything. Golf in person to me is the most boring thing ever.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that, I'm the wrong, and I play golf, and I don't mind watching golf on TV, but golf in person is awful.
Well, you're just going to the Masters so you can go spend $500 in the gift shop.
Yeah, it's true. And get your $2 pimento cheese sandwich or whatever it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey,
Oh, but so much stuff.
I know.
There we go. All right. So, Thomas, I hope we've answered your question. Now we move on to the final word as we're inside a minute to go. Be sure you subscribe and like.
What's going on here?
It's insanity. So, Final thoughts as we take this.
Yeah, 2 must-win games for Arkansas this week. I think the SEC is starting to cannibalize itself. I don't know if they get 3 number 1 seeds. We'll find out over the next couple of weeks at the NCAA tournament. Arkansas women's basketball, really, really bad.
Hey, but
Izzy
they beat A&M
Higginbottom somehow she scores 27 points and goes 4 of 16 shooting, 19 free throws. Also helps.
Yeah.
So those are AAAscoreboard.com. That's my final thought.
That is the only place you need to go over the next week. Please.
AAA Scoreboard.